few weeks ago, I got the opportunity to drive what I thought was BMW's flagship sports car. But I was wrong. Because this is my opportunity to drive their flagship sports car. The all-new 2019 BMW M850i, 523 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque in a sleek coupe body that looks like a shark, especially the sonic blue metallic.
When I first saw this car on the internet, I was stunned. Beautiful, gorgeous, and with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 engine that backed that all up, I just had to try one for myself. And now that it's in front of me, I can't say I'm disappointed at all. It's a stunning piece of machinery, a true GT sports car.
That's because the interior is a beautiful place to be. The materials are lavish, buttons are well thought out, and you have crystals covering half the controls, including the gear selector. The seats are plush and extraordinarily comfortable. And finally, there's a virtual cockpit. After all the times I've ragged on BMW interiors, this has got to be the nicest cabin I've ever been in. But there is a trade-off: the weight.
The US version of this car actually weighs around 4,500 pounds, which is about the same as a Hellcat. But in Europe, this thing weighs 300 pounds lighter. Unfair, I know. But there's also not a lot of testing out for this thing. Motor Trend puts it at 11.9 at 116 miles per hour, and Car and Driver did 11.5 at 123 miles per hour. That's a big range, but 123 is pretty close to what a standard V10 R8 would do, and we have acceleration data on that. So let's go find out what this thing does in the 60 to 130. Hopefully we can get that today.
But there is a slight problem. Somehow, I ended up at the top of this mountain in Spain, so I'll have to make our way down before we can find a straight road. First and foremost, you have to know what you're getting into. This isn't some short wheelbase, lightweight, monobody sports car. Yes, it has carbon fiber weaved into the chassis. And yes, it's low, wide, and has the aura of something special. But that isn't the point of this thing. It's an 8 Series designed to shuttle you in complete luxury through hundreds of miles of open road. The fact that it can carve these canyons is just the icing on top. In retrospect, this probably isn't the best place to tell you about how awesome this thing is. And truthfully, I'd rather be driving an M2 competition up here, or better yet, my Barth 124. But that would be way too good to be true, huh? It's not to say that the car can't handle these corners. It can hold its own just fine. But you feel it wanting to lean as you throw it into the turns, and squeezing through these narrow roads feels more like brain surgery than driving. But even though it's large and heavy, it still feels composed and confident. I like how well the car communicates its limits clearly through the body roll. The most impressive thing to me is how compliant it is, even in Sport Plus. It's easily the most comfortable ride I've been in. But when I look at it from afar or from behind, it bears a striking resemblance to the Infiniti Q60, and I'm not really sure that's a good thing. This virtual cockpit, on the other hand, is a real winner. I think I like it more than Audi's Google Maps situation. It's definitely the makeover the BMW needed. That exhaust note isn't too bad either. None of that hollow-sounding S550 crap. Just a nice, refined V8, and you do get some deep burbles every time you let off the throttle. But I imagine an aftermarket exhaust would do this thing some real justice. The power is sent through an 8-speed ZF unit that has proven itself time and time again. And even if it is covered with crystals, it's quick, snappy, and smooth, all at the same time. Maybe a little too smooth. Looks like we're almost at the bottom now. We'll switch it up and do the run in full auto first. manual with these shiny paddles. Looks like we don't have enough road to get this done safely.
Being in a foreign country and all, and only having the car for a few hours, it's pretty tough to find a decent road to do the 60 to 130. So unfortunately, all I could get was the 40 to 100. But based on what I did find, my results are closer to the Motor Trend than Car and Driver. That's because the 2019 BMW M850i did 40 to 100 in 5.81 seconds. That's not nearly as fast as the V10 R8, which did 40 to 100 in 5.03, and that car traps 123 in the quarter mile. It is a little faster than the BMW i8, but then again, that is to be expected. We also have to remember that this isn't even the performance variant of the car.
If I had to guess, it would probably run a mid-10 second 60 to 130 time. That's about what the E60 M5 and M6 runs, and this car feels really close to that in terms of performance. Everywhere else though, it's leaps and bounds ahead.
And if we take a look at the price point of the BMW, its closest competitors are the Lexus LC500 and the Mercedes S550 Coupe. Being almost 5 years old, the Mercedes does feel a little dated, and the Lexus is certainly the cheapest and the most underpowered of the bunch. The BMW offers something refreshing to a segment of luxury grand tourers. I personally have a hard time coughing up 110 grand for this car, but my wife seems to think it's worth it, at least for the ride quality, interior, and them crystals. So, we'll just see what BMW does with the M8. That should be interesting.
But if you can't wait for the M8, this car still has a lot of upgrade potential. A tune alone would get you almost 670 horsepower, which is plenty. And with all-wheel drive, you can easily put all that to the ground. So unless the M8 is radical, I'd say this car is almost good enough. So what's your take on the M850i? Does it pay homage to the original 8 Series of the 90s? Or does BMW have too many things going on? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to check out some of my other content and mash that subscribe button if you like what you see. Thanks for watching.